Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. So this is my 29 weeks pregnant update, so if you want to see how I've been for the last week then keep watching. So it's so strange to be making a video again after having like such a long break. If you're watching this maybe in the future, this is actually the 30th of December that I'm filming this, so obviously it's been Christmas, and if you're watching this now I hope you all had a really lovely Christmas. I had a great one and I'm going to touch on that in this update as well, because obviously Christmas can be a bit of a tough time when you're pregnant because you can't eat certain things or drink certain things. But yeah, I'm just going to get started because it feels like for some reason 29 weeks doesn't seem like the most adventurous or exciting of weeks, but quite a few bits have been happening. So I thought I would just sort of catch up with you all and fill you in. So the first thing, as I mentioned, was Christmas, and I had such a nice time. It was so lovely. The only thing that I would say that I struggled with was, if you don't know, I co-parent with my eldest dad, so Bill, my son, he's 5, and we haven't been together since he was about 18 months old. It was a mutual thing, and as such we kind of split Christmas halfway down the middle. And I remember when I was pregnant with Daisy, which was a few years back now, I really struggled at Christmas time and got a really low mood, because it was the first time that we decided to do that since splitting, because the first Christmas he spent with me because he was still quite young, and I really found the run up to Christmas very hard. But this year thankfully I was a lot more level-headed. I don't know if it was something to do with like where I'm at in my pregnancy, because I'm slightly further along at this time of year with this baby boy than I was with her, or maybe it's just time, but I did do quite well. I did get very upset on Christmas Day when he left. I managed to wave him off with a big smile on my face and wish him like a Merry Christmas and tell him I loved him and to have a lovely time, and then the minute I closed the door I just burst into tears. And I enjoyed Christmas, but it's hard because obviously I've got a wonderful family that I spent the day with. I've got Mark, I've got Daisy, and they are, you know, they're enough, they're plenty. But when you don't have such a big person in your life with you on the day, it's just not, it isn't the same. And I did feel slightly just sort of adrift at times, like I wasn't really like present. I was missing him and it was quite hard, but I think I did really well to sort of get through it, especially when you're pregnant, when your emotions are so high. Another thing that really surprised me, obviously when you are pregnant the guidelines are to not consume alcohol, and that's a given. I haven't touched a drop since I found out, and I think I was only 3 and a bit weeks when I found out that I was pregnant with this baby. So it's been a good long time and that's been fine. You don't exactly crave it, do you, in the early months? But I have to say I find it hard at Christmas time because everybody is getting merry. They're having like cocktails, they're having Prosecco, and like the wine is flowing and the atmosphere is different because you're all indulging and having fun. Whereas for me it was like, oh, I've got like Schlur and I've got tonic water and, you know, got a few bits to sort of make me feel a little bit more grown up, but it wasn't quite the same. But surprisingly I didn't feel the need to even have like, you know, like a glass of Bucks Fizz, which is typically 4%, and you have like 125ml glass, which is very little. It wouldn't have made a dent on me at all in terms of like feeling like under the influence of alcohol, and it certainly wouldn't have affected him. I didn't have anything, and I did surprise myself because I said, oh, I might just have a glass on Christmas Day and just, you know, raise a toast, and no, didn't interest me whatsoever. So that kind of surprised me. And what I've done instead is just make up for it by eating all of the chocolate. I have been a little chocolate monster at the moment. Like, I'm not really a chocolate fan. If anything, I would probably be more interested in like sour sweets. Like when I'm not pregnant, that's more my thing. I'm not really into chocolate that much, but with this pregnancy, wow, it just hit me with some chocolate. Come on, like throw some chocolate at me, rub it all over my face, I'd be so happy. So yeah, that was kind of like the big craving for the past week. And I've obviously really enjoyed, like, you know, Christmas dinner was gorgeous. My auntie did a really good job, and like I've been eating buffet food and like cheese and biscuits, and it's been lovely. But even though I am pregnant, I am conscious that like when January comes, which is in 2 days time, I do sort of need to rectify my eating habits because I can't let this continue. Now, I don't know if you'll be able to tell by my voice, but I got another sort of cough cold type thing, I would say about 5 days after the other one started to end, which wasn't great. But this one is definitely different compared to how poorly I was last time around. Like last time around I couldn't sleep properly, I was very, very unwell, my energy was flagging considerably, and I was doing Vlogmas at the time, which I found really, really hard, but I was so determined to do it as like a sort of challenge to myself. And I didn't really think anything of it. Obviously I went to the doctors, I wasn't allowed to have anything, which was a shame because you couldn't tell if it was viral or bacterial. But I was struggling, I really was. And then I got this other cough and cold like 5 days later once I'd started to slightly recover. So I have been a bit sniffly over Christmas, which has been a bit of a bummer, but I'm actually alright with it. It's just annoying being so congested really. But what that leads on to is that if you remember from my last update, I had a reassurance scan, and I also met with a midwife and consultant at the hospital, and then in the afternoon I had my 28-week midwife appointment anyway that everybody has, which was more standard, about giving me leaflets about, you know, breastfeeding and what to expect with a C-section, the types of pain relief that you can use. And now this is my third baby, so all of it's like kind of like, you know, old news to me, but it's a really useful appointment if you are a first-time mum because you get all of that information to take away with you. And I had a blood test and my urine sample done, and my urine was fine, and bloods I didn't expect there to be any problems really. But I had a phone call 2 days ago, maybe it was the 27th, the 28th of December, and it was from the antenatal unit, and they had found that in my blood count I had quite a high number actually, of white blood cells, and she says it's a sign of infection. But because my urine came back fine, it isn't like a bladder or UTI infection, which is normally quite common with women. Instead it would be like somewhere else in my body. And she was like, have you been really unwell at all? Because otherwise, like, if you haven't, then we probably need to get you in ASAP. But I explained about this chest infection that I felt like I'd had, and I've been to the GP with it, and she said it could well be that it's still in your system, and if you're feeling okay in yourself and you're not too bad, then what we'll do, we'll just wait until your next midwife appointment, which is on the 11th of January, and they are going to retake my bloods. But if anything in the meantime changes, I start to become really unwell, or, you know, I've got any concerns, I need to give them a ring, and then I can go from there. Like, I'll either go in for monitoring, that sort of thing. So I came off the phone with her, and then I kind of did worry a little bit, and I also felt really, really bad on my past self because I'd been pushing myself to do like a video every day, and I was like doing all these nice things for the kids. Like every single day I had to have something Christmassy for them to do, like whether or not it was like baking with me, or Christmas crafts, or Christmas colouring in books, or Christmas books to read. And I put so much pressure on myself, and I was obviously really, really unwell. So I'm hoping that by the time I have those bloods done again, fingers crossed, everything is okay. But if not, I guess I will be going in for monitoring, but I'm hoping that it doesn't come to that point. And then again, another thing that was a bit panic stations yesterday was that Bill, bless him, has come out in chicken pox, and I have not dealt with chicken pox yet. He's 5.5, so we've done quite well to get to this point, I think, and he's handling it really well actually. But I have heard a few like sort of not horror stories, but like concerning stories about like people that I know that have had chicken pox that have had to have like extra scans, because depending on the time in which you're pregnant, and if you've not had chicken pox before, if you do contract it, it can affect your baby and cause microcephaly or any like other issues. And I'm 29 weeks, so I'm past like the more dangerous stage. But the first thing I did when I realised he got it, after like sort of like trying to see if he was okay and make a list of things that I needed to buy from a pharmacy, was ring my mum and be like, please tell me I've had chicken pox because I can't remember. And she was like, I remember your brother having it because he was born with it, which they said it was very, very rare. He had it like, he had it at 2 days old, which is very, very rare. And Mum was like, well, I can't remember about you because obviously I had a newborn baby, and like the focus was on the fact that he like contracted chicken pox. And eventually her and my dad like chatted about it, and they were like, well, she must have it because like how else did James get it, my brother? And she said, and you also do, I think from memory, have a scar on your chest. And I do actually have a scar on one of my boobs. Like it's like really, really small. You wouldn't notice it unless you were like, I don't know, close enough, so mark. But that was a relief because you do have to notify your midwife anyway, which I did, and she said there won't be any issues if I've had it before, but if anything changes and I do start to come out with like the spots or I feel really unwell, then again I've got to give them a call. So it's been like one of those weeks where you're just like, oh my gosh, it's Christmas, calm down. So quickly on to my symptoms. The one thing that I have probably really struggled with, but I do have an antidote for, is heartburn. And I do get heartburn quite bad in the third trimester, to the point that I'm very, very uncomfortable and I can't sleep and I struggle to eat and things like that. And I went to the doctor, as I mentioned, when I had a chest infection, and I asked about heartburn because I had a tablet last time that was prescribed to me from my consultant, and even though at first my GP said no, she wouldn't prescribe that to me, she actually went and checked later and she was like, no, actually it's fine for you to have it, and I'm sorry that I like messed you around, which was really nice of it. But it's called omeprazole, and I think I'm saying that right. And what I've realised at the moment is that maybe because of where I'm at in my pregnancy at the moment, I've still got like 11 weeks, probably maybe even more to go, is that I can take them every, like, is it every 2 days or every 3 days? So I took one yesterday, I'm not going to take one today, I'm not going to take one tomorrow, but I will take one on New Year's Day, and that has worked really, really well for me. And I've noticed that if I do forget, I become quite unwell. I feel like really off my food, I feel quite queasy with heartburn, and I just don't feel right. So they have been a complete blessing to me. And then the only other symptom that I would say that I've had is I'm getting like hot sweats sometimes, which is really weird. Sometimes it can happen at night, sometimes it can happen like just randomly. I do remember this with Daisy, but given that it's so cold, it's like, why am I getting so hot? But that's been like, it's nothing too irritating. And then, oh, one thing that I guess has changed is the fact that I'm starting to find sleep a little bit more difficult. I just feel like my back is really achy and I struggle to get comfortable. I've actually bought some new Silent Night pillows, which I'm waiting for them to arrive so I can sort of update my pillows and try and see if it makes a difference, because our mattress is actually really good. But I think it's just one of those things that I'm going to have to accept as I get bigger, because the pressure on my back is just, it's a given, isn't it? There's not really much I can do about that. But yeah, that is everything. So I'll quickly show you my belly. So this is my 29-week bump with clothes on. If you were wondering, this top is actually ASOS maternity, and I bought it in the sale after Christmas, so I will try and find it and leave it linked down below for you if you are interested. It's so pretty, and I just like the ties on the sleeves and stuff like that. I think it's a little bit different. But this is him with clothes on, and then this is my 29-week belly with clothes off. And I really do think that I do seem to have quite a big bump. A few people have said to me over Christmas, like family members, that I am looking a lot bigger, and I do wonder sometimes what the size of me is going to be like when I'm actually full term. So that is everything. I hope you enjoyed watching this video as always, and I hope you're all doing well if you are pregnant as well. I cannot believe that in 1 week's time, in fact not even that, because at the moment I am 29 weeks and 4 days. It's just around the corner. In a few days time I'm going to be 30 weeks, and then it's the final 10-week countdown, which is crazy. But I'm so excited, especially for 2018 to start, because I can finally say I'm having a baby this year, which is amazing. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will hopefully see you next time. Bye.